How's it going, folks? Sorry for being absent for a little bit, several days really. I ended up after Thanksgiving holiday and stuff, I decided just to take a little break, but I'm back here. And I had a band reach out to me and ask if I would check out their latest single. Of course, I said, sure thing. Yeah, not a problem. Always excited to check out a band or something that I've never listened to before. And yeah, the name of this band is Wailing Banshee. And the name of this song is Tempest. I'm looking forward to checking this out. So without further ado, let's give it a listen. Rangers, go. Interesting, not too shabby. It's definitely has a polished sound, a nice production, a nice mix. You can hear everything, not real crisp and clean, which I certainly appreciate. I love that main kind of like guitar riff, to damn, 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 damn. It was just really neat. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It started off the song like on the right foot. I was like, okay, yeah, here, we got a little bit of aggression here, a little bit of an edge here in this guitar riff. And so every time that happened, that main riff, I just yeah, I mean, it's energetic. It packs a punch. So I thought that was really cool, and the drum work was really solid as well. You could hear it real nice, and yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of those fills that were in there, and also is a bit punchy, which I dug also. Um, you know, I guess aside from that, I'll start with like my critique, which there's really like one critique, because all of the individual parts I thought were solid enough and things like that. But I guess my biggest critique is just that the way that guitar riff starts out in the beginning, it definitely has a nice kind of heavy metal sort of feel to it. And again, how I said before, it's punchy. It's got an edge to it, a grit to it. So it kind of sets the stage for what you expect the song to kind of be, to maybe follow in line with that. But as soon as you get to the verse, everything just gets really dialed back. And I know that happens sometimes with songs. You kind of have that dynamic. It starts out real punchy, and then it kind of dials it back for the verse. But it progressively kind of it progressively gets more, I guess, energetic, or kind of starts bridging that gap between the intro. It's like the intro starts up here as far as like an aggression or just a real pop, and then the verses kind of dial back to here, but then gradually the song kind of ramps up over time until the whole song kind of reaches up to where the intro sort of established. But that's not really the case here, and so it really dials back in the verses. It rises up a little bit in the chorus, but it never. But then after the chorus, you kind of get that main riff again, and it's like, where is this like heavy metal? Where is this kind of like energy or grit in the rest of the song? We get a little bit there at the end, which I'll talk about. But so that was the biggest thing for me. It felt like you almost have like two different songs kind of battling each other here. You kind of have what's established as more of like a heavy metal kind of vibe, but then between like the verses and the chorus, it's more of kind of like a hard rock kind of vibe to it. And so those two styles, like it just kind of clashed a little bit too much. It felt like, it lost that kind of streamlined nature. It's like that thread that you kind of want that starts in the very beginning to be kind of woven through the whole song, like it's all somewhat connected in a way. It feels like it's severed. It's like you have two different threads. The one that like starts at the intro is severed. The second thread starts for like the verses in the chorus, and then that's severed, and then the first one starts again. It just didn't feel like it was entirely connected. So I kind of would have wanted the whole song to follow in line with the intro, with like that main riff, and to have more of an edge to it. It just felt like it was missing that, or do away with that main riff and have it more in line with the verses and the chorus, a bit more somber, perhaps a bit more ballad like on the electric, something like that to where it captures more that atmosphere from the verses and the chorus, or something. It's almost like there's like two separate songs here, that there's parts that almost belong in a different song as opposed to the same song. If y'all kind of get what I'm saying here. Because, it really gets dialed back there in the verses. It picks up a little bit in the chorus. I do like the melody in the chorus. Like, again, it's like, I don't dislike the verses or the chorus. It just feels like they're kind of from a separate song. Again, it's like this song could have been, if you take those different parts, could have become two different songs, instead of trying to make them one together. Because I really like the solo work and stuff, the guitar solo and whatnot, and the bridge. And then, again, I do like that chorus, but it just doesn't match, in my opinion, kind of that lead riff, kind of what's established in the beginning and throughout. And then because also I was thinking during the whole song, I was like, she's got like a really strong voice. She does a really good job on the verses and the chorus, or in the whole song. But I was like, it's not like she's not capable of nailing like a nice kind of melodic heavy metal sort of thing. You got that main riff there in the beginning, and then maybe it picks up speed a little bit, gets a little bit, not super frenetic, but just, really dive into this kind of heavy metal punchy kind of thing, and she could definitely kill it on something like that. Case in point, what I was talking about with the end of the song is you kind of have like the riff and stuff going. This is like after the chorus, the final chorus, and she's kind of just doing like single line vocals here and there, but really like, giving a lot of power behind her vocals, and it definitely ramps up in terms of her vocal approach to the song with that added grit, that more metal kind of approach, and it was killer, So, I mean, she could definitely nail it on a just driven heavy metal kind of track. I like that whole outro and stuff like that. And again, all the performances were really solid. The vocals were solid. Again, I like the individual parts. I have nothing against the verses and chorus on their own. It's just the way that this song was woven together. If you're going to start out the way that it did, it just felt like it needs to keep that momentum a bit, and not drop it so drastically, or at least kind of really ramp it up, keep that aggression in there to a degree. Again, that's really the biggest thing for me that threw me off. But aside from that, again, all the individual sections were solid, real talented folks here. I liked all the performances. To avoid just being redundant, I think y'all know what I'm trying to say here. So definitely a band I'm going to keep my eye on, though. I want to see like what else they got and things like that, because again, a lot of talent here. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts here on this song. Let me know, folks, in the comments down below. What'd you think of this one here? Let's talk about it, and I'll catch you next time. Ranger out.